for joining us for DSPORT Live 2020. I guess that's what we're calling this. And up right now, some new products offerings from Mclaud clutches, and you see them here on the desk here. And Gianni wakes up, he'll bring the camera over and get you some close-ups. Let's see here. So let's talk about the first product here. This right here is for Civics out there, 1.5 liter turbos. You probably know that if you started doing upgrades on the car, you're probably going to overpower that stock clutch pretty easily. When we had one here before Tyler had the car for a while, he ended up going with putting in a Type R clutch in the Civic Si, and that helped and stuff. But there's only so much an OEM clutch can do, and if you need more than that, this might be a good option for you. So this is the kit with aluminum flywheel. You can get the aluminum flywheel separately if you like, but this is the Mclaud clutch disc available just for that. It has a 6-puck sprung hub center clutch. So this is a cerametallic material with a sprung hub. So it's for the more serious guys out there. It's going to give you still a good pedal feel. You know, they have a different diaphragm in here that has a little bit more pressure than the stock one. Plus you've got a better friction material that's going to deal with heat and slipping a lot better. And on top of that, if we take a look at the flywheel here, you've got a billet aluminum flywheel with a replaceable steel shield here. So as the clutch wears in the future and the flywheel wears, if you want to replace this, that is an option available to you. It's got a hardened starter gear on there that's fastened to it. And so that's where your little pilot bushing goes in. So it's a pretty nice setup. Serviceable, takes a good amount of weight out of the system, and definitely handles a lot more power. So that is a good solution if you're out there in the 1.5 liter Civic Si Turbo. Let's see here. The Street Power clutch line in general adds about 40 to 50% more clamping force, more power handling, I should say. And they come complete. When you buy the actual kit, this will come with everything you need. It's going to have the tool in there. It'll have the throw-out bearing. So it's a pretty good way to go to make sure you got everything that you need. And moving on down the line here, they haven't forgotten about you guys out there still running the B series and K series engines out there. They do have, whenever I say B series, Series thinks I'm talking to her. So anyways, we've got their flywheel right here, aluminum flywheel, also replaceable friction area here on the face of it. See how it's all attached there. And a hardened ring gear. So it could definitely take some weight out of your setup. And they make it both for the K series and the B series, as I said. It's 11 pounds for the B series setup. And let's see here. Now we get into, this is the Type R. Okay, so we talked about the Type R a little bit. If you have a new Type R, they do have an aluminum flywheel combination for you right now. And again, like the other ones that we saw, you're going to get all those same features in there. You got the billet aluminum construction. You're going to have a removable and serviceable steel friction surface and the hardened gear. So you basically, you buy it once, and throughout the lifetime of the car, you can service it. You don't have to buy a second one in the future. And as we move along from there, let's move into the MagForce. Now, this is kind of an interesting clutch. You know, we saw the earlier one for the Honda, and we noticed it used a stamped steel cover. Well, this one here has a billet aluminum machine cover. So this is a lot stiffer than what you're going to get in the stamped steel cover. This is much stiffer, and what that does is it limits a lot of the deflection you get when you have a push style clutch. So that's all removed from it. And this one right here, you know, this isn't something for super high horsepower, since it is still a single disc, but it will hold just about 450 foot-pounds of torque at the crank. So a pretty good setup if you've got a mild turbo or something on there and you want something that's nice and streetable, but can handle the power. It is something to consider. Now we're going to get into the full race setup here. So this is, if you really want to get a clutch in there that's going to be set up for drag racing, this is pretty much where you're going to end up. Now, we've got this clutch here. This is a twin, and this is they call this the Mini Mag series. I'll rip it apart for you here. So all the products from Mclaud are made in the USA. They're just a few miles away from us here in Southern California, and great group of guys over there. The owner, Paul Lee, drives a Top Fuel funny car, and we're going to actually, if you're joining us on YouTube or joining us on Facebook, we're going to actually end it with that video. Instagram, sorry guys, there's no way of actually doing that and making it look normal. As I'm going to try to pull this off, okay, here we go. Got it off, all right. So you've got your pressure plate right here, and as with any of these, there's different spring rates available, so you can kind of tune it for what you want. We've got the hub here that drives it. Here's our first friction surface. Okay, here's our clutches. Now these are sintered iron. Now sintered iron is it's a pretty neat material. This is the same kind of friction material that they're going to use in a Top Fuel dragster, Top Fuel funny car. It's some serious stuff. It can take plenty of abuse. It's sintered, meaning it's like a powdered metal that's kind of like under pressure and heat just kind of melts and gets forced onto a surface. So there's no rivets or anything like that. You have to worry about the lining coming off. It is basically nearly welded to the surface. And it's a good friction material as far as its strength. Not something you typically want to run on the streets because it can be actually noisy. It can actually give you a lot of noise and stuff like that. But if you're looking for the ultimate material that can take abuse, that's why they use it in the Top Fuel cars. And this system here, you could feel this, like compared to an organic clutch or you know, even the cerometallic clutches, the metallic clutches, this is a lot lighter material. They can make this super light. The whole assembly here ends up being really light, and one of the advantages to going to a small clutch like a 7 1/4 inch clutch is all of the mass that you have here is significantly reduced. So it ends up being extremely light. It allows the car to shift very easy, and because you've got a really, you know, aggressive friction material here, you can get the torque handling that you need. Normally in a 7 1/4 inch clutch, you can't handle a lot of torque, but you've got 2 discs working for you, and you've got sintered iron, which there's nothing more aggressive than that out there that you can really abuse and depend on. And looking at the rest of the system here, just to finish it off, you see on the flywheel here, again, we've got a serviceable friction surface on the flywheel and actually serviceable ring gear on here. So again, it's something you can buy, and throughout the life of racing this car, just service those parts as you need them. Now, I talked about Paul Lee a little bit. We got to speak with him at the NHRA, I don't know if they were the Winter Final, Winter Nationals or the World Finals, I forget when it was, but we got a chance to meet with them, learn a little bit more about Top Fuel cars. One of the things I didn't know is they actually launch from an idle. You know, we're always here and we're sitting out there, you know, in our cars, and we come up on a 2-step, try to get up on boost and nail it. Well, that doesn't happen in a Top Fuel car. They just idle up to the line, and when they nail it, that nitromethane, forced induction, and blower and everything is just, it's going for, you know, as long as they can keep that engine together to get to the 1,000-foot mark. And if you're joining us now on YouTube and Facebook, we're going to roll that video so you can enjoy it. If not, guys on Instagram, join us on the other one. But if you can't, we'll put the links on there so you can join us in the future and check out these videos, which we'll have for you. And guys, we'll be back after we get this mess cleaned up with some more products.
Hello everyone, my name is Paul Lee. I'm here at Mclaud Racing Headquarters in Anaheim, California, and I'm the driver of the car you see right behind me here, the Mclaud clutches and FTI Performance Nitro Funny Car. This car has 11,000 horsepower, and my best time so far is 3.88 in 1,000 foot at 332 miles an hour. But before we get into the thrill of that, let's talk a little bit about how we prepare the car. When we get to the track, we have this big tractor trailer you see behind me. And we have a crew of 10 to 12 crew members, a crew chief, a car chief. Basically, they take the car out, take it all apart, and put it together based on the weather conditions. We'll fire it up and warm it up just to see if there's any leaks, see how the fuel system's working. We'll get it on the jack stands, we'll spin the tires, we'll try reverse. We'll go through all the things that we do when we're up on the starting line to make sure there's no issues. So once we get up to the staging lanes, we'll get in order with our partner, whoever we're running against, and I'll get in the car, I'll get dressed in the staging lanes, I'll get on my 7-layer fireproof suit, I'll get in my 2 layers of gloves, my helmet with a Nomex sock, and I'll get strapped into the car. Once it's our turn to run, we'll pull up to the line, and the NHRA officials will give us the okay. He'll say, start them up. Now, once I'm in the car, I'm going through my head, what do I have to do? All the procedures are the same. Once I pull up to do my burnout, I want to do it the same way, the same speed. I pull through the water box, and I'll hit the gas pedal, and I'll bring it up to 6,000 RPM. And then I'll do the burnout as long as the crew chief tells me. Once I get out from the burnout, I'll stop. My backup girl, Crystal Baldwin, she'll come and open the roof hatch, and that lets out the smoke and the fumes, and then I'll put it in reverse, and then I'll slowly back up. Once I back up, the guys will raise the body, they'll take off the dashboard, they'll check the idle and the fuel system, make sure everything's armed, they'll lower the body back again, and then at that point, we're ready to make the run. I make sure my visor's down, I make sure my fresh air breathing system is on. The intense feeling, the fumes are in there, it's loud, you can see the pipes, especially at night, you can see the flames, and I pull up to the first beam and I light the first light with my brake, and I have my foot on the gas ready to go. I look for the yellow light. As soon as the yellow flashes, I hit the gas pedal and I'm on for the ride of my life. All the way, it's all or nothing. And it's a handful from start to finish. 5.5 Gs, it puts you back in the seat. Pretty powerful. It's like the Jolly Green Giant would take you by the shoulders and slamming you against the wall. That's how it feels. Your head jerks back and you have a strap on your chin. If I didn't have that chin strap on, I couldn't hold my head forward. One thing about these 11,000 horsepower funny cars is they don't stop accelerating. The first 300 feet is massive acceleration. As the clutch comes in, it's even more acceleration. It's actually trying to pick the front end up. It does not want to go straight. It's a 125-inch wheelbase, 11,000 horsepower. It's not really meant to go straight. You're driving that car all the way to the finish line, and there's not one point in that run where you're hesitating. Because if you do, this thing can get away from you before you can think. Just think about this. This car moves faster than you can think. It's when I get to that finish line, when you hit that chute going 332 miles an hour, so now it goes from 5.5 Gs to negative 5 Gs. It just hits you hard, takes you from 332 miles an hour to about 150 in a split second. We talk about, being car guys. My passion is cars and hot rods. And to me, a Nitro Funny Car is the ultimate hot rod. It takes days for that adrenaline to go down. It's only 4 seconds. But at the end of the day, you're pretty tired, both mentally and physically. But that's the feel of a run, and there's nothing like it in the world.